What if everything you desire already exists? Not someday, right now, waiting for you? A hidden key decides who manifests and who doesn't. It's not luck, faith, or coincidence. It's law. The universe doesn't answer words, it answers vibration. Most people pray wrong and never notice why. You don't ask the universe, you command it. This is the prayer that always works. A forgotten formula known by ancient initiates, used by prophets, mystics, and silent creators. Lost for centuries, buried beneath religion and doubt. Today, you'll remember it, you'll feel it. The power to reshape reality through one word. Not a ritual, a precise vibrational technology. You'll learn why thoughts alone never manifest, why emotions sabotage what your words declare, and how to align them into perfect coherence. Once aligned, reality has no choice but obey. The key is simple, but demands inner truth. You'll see it, you'll feel it, you'll use it. The prayer that never fails when spoken right. Today, you'll remember who creates when you speak. Don't leave yet. This is just the beginning. Like, share with those walking the same path, subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next few moments might change the way you see reality. Stay until the end. What you're hearing isn't content. It's a calling from your soul. The question of existence. Imagine for a moment that nothing is missing, that every dream, every love, every future you long for already breathes somewhere within the invisible. Creation does not need to be built, only remembered. Desire is not the cry of lack, it is the echo of memory. What if everything you seek is simply waiting for your recognition? In that silence, a whisper emerges. The same voice that spoke the world into being now rises inside you. The memory of creation. Before time had language, existence moved as vibration. The universe was sound before it was form, a single pulse repeating, awakening itself. And from that resonance, consciousness was born, the mind of God dreaming in endless directions. Every human thought since then is a fragment of that original frequency, a remembrance disguised as intention. When you feel a desire, it is not you wishing. It is the cosmos remembering itself through you, the mind's horizon. Look inside the architecture of your thought. It is not imagination, it is blueprint. Every image you hold, every possibility you sustain in silence, begins carving itself into matter. Reality listens not to effort, but to clarity. The mind is a horizon where words have yet to become form, where every idea waits for the courage of expression. You are standing at the edge of creation, holding the pen that writes existence. The first sound in the beginning was not light, it was vibration. Sound moved before stars, rhythm danced before gravity. The sacred syllables of the universe, unspoken yet alive, carved geometry into chaos. And the first word ever uttered was not heard, it was felt. That feeling still lives inside you. When your emotion aligns with intention, the same pulse that birthed galaxies begins to move through your breath. The mirror of the divine humanity was sculpted from that very resonance, a vessel designed to speak creation back into form. You are not made of dust, you are made of frequency and memory. Every cell carries the imprint of the original word. When you speak, the universe listens not to your tone, but to your coherence. The law has never changed. The word made flesh now remembers it is flesh-made word. The divine does not echo, it reflects itself through you. The opening gate. There is a word older than language, a command that opens all closed realities. EFATA. Be opened. It is not shouted, it is remembered. When you whisper it from within, you command every sealed door of perception to unfold. EFATA is not magic, it is permission. Permission to see what has always been yours, to call the unseen by its true name. When the lips move with truth, the air becomes light, and reality exhales. The realization. And suddenly you understand. Prayer was never about asking. It was about remembering who speaks. You are the architect of vibration, the voice of an ancient intelligence dreaming itself into form. Every word you pronounce is a brushstroke on the canvas of reality. And when you speak from coherence, when thought, emotion, and word become one, the universe has no choice but to obey. For the voice of the Creator and the voice within you are the same. The forgotten origin. Before temples rose and doctrines ruled, prayer was vibration, a sacred frequency that sculpted light into form. The ancients didn't beg. They breathed in rhythm with creation itself. Every word was geometry, every sound a seed of matter awakening. Over time, we traded resonance for ritual, but deep inside, the memory still hums, a quiet echo waiting to be remembered. The architects of sound. In ancient lands, masters of tone built bridges between realms. Egyptian priests moved stone through resonance, while Vedic sages sang light into motion. To them, sound was not devotion. It was divine technology, an act of coherence with the cosmic field. They knew that existence was music slowed into form, and that aligned intention could command the stars themselves. The fall into repetition. When truth hardened into religion, vibration became noise. The sacred word was reduced to habit, and power turned to hollow repetition. People spoke without coherence, mistaking quantity for connection. The universe does not hear the mouth. It listens to the frequency of being. One word uttered in alignment carries more force than 1,000 spoken in fear. The forgotten mechanics. The ancients built their prayers like equations. Thought as design, emotion as current, and word as trigger. When united, they reshaped the field around the body. Their temples were laboratories of sound, not shrines of worship. They didn't petition gods, they awakened the God within, mastering vibration as both science and art, the architecture of the unseen. The return of the frequency. Now, as consciousness reawakens, we begin to remember. Prayer is not pleading, it is attunement. Every breath, every syllable is a calibration of light and emotion. The mystic becomes the scientist once more, realizing that the divine equation was never lost, only forgotten. Spirit and matter are no longer divided. They dance in frequency again. The geometry of the word. Every syllable births geometry, ripples of golden energy spiraling into the quantum sea. Coherent words crystallize into sacred forms, while incoherent ones collapse into dust. This is why speech is sacred, not for what it means, but for what it builds. Every breath is architecture, every sound a design of resonance shaping what is yet unseen. The reawakening. Now we return to the source, not through ritual but remembrance. Prayer is no longer a cry but a vibration, the voice of the soul declaring, I am. The breath becomes bridge, the word becomes law, the body becomes temple. You are not a seeker, you are the sound itself, remembering its origin. When thought, feeling, and word align, the universe whispers back, EFATA. The seed of thought. Every creation begins as an idea carved into silence. A thought is not a whisper in the mind, it is an architect drawing in light. When a thought is pure, focused, and uncorrupted by doubt, it becomes a seed within the field of vibration. The ancients called it the sacred spark, the image held so clearly that the universe must obey. But when the mind scatters, the seed falls on barren ground. Creation begins not when you imagine, but when you sustain imagination without fracture. The water of emotion feeling is the water that feeds the seed of thought. Without emotion, the most beautiful idea remains sterile, a blueprint without life. To feel is to breathe warmth into geometry, to make the invisible pulse. When love or gratitude join thought, frequency multiplies, reality bends toward coherence. But emotion born from fear drains vitality, washing away the pattern. True prayer does not ask. It feels as if it were already fulfilled, letting emotion flow as proof of faith. The fire of the word. The word is the moment vibration takes form. It is the fire that seals the unseen into existence. When the lips move with coherence, when voice aligns with inner knowing, sound becomes architecture. To speak consciously is to command matter through frequency. Every tone carries geometry, every syllable reshapes the field. When your word and your truth are one, reality obeys like metal to magnet, effortless, inevitable, divine. The alignment. When thought, feeling, and word unite, the trinity of manifestation is born. This is the moment coherence transforms energy into matter. It is not mystical, it is law, the same principle that shapes galaxies. Within that harmony, your vibration becomes a signature recognized by the universe. You no longer request reality, you emit it. In alignment, creation is not a miracle. It is mathematics made holy. The fracture. Most people live divided, thinking one thing, feeling another, speaking the opposite. In that split, power disperses, vibration cancels itself. You cannot declare abundance while vibrating scarcity, nor speak peace while feeling chaos. Incoherence is not punishment, it is simple physics. Energy follows agreement. Where mind, heart, and voice disagree, the field remains still. To realign is not to force, it is to remember your inner geometry, the geometry of belief. Faith is not blind, it is harmonic. It is the invisible shape created when mind and emotion resonate as one. Every conviction draws a pattern in space, a mandala of energy visible only to the universe. When belief is fractured, its geometry collapses. When whole, it becomes luminous architecture. The saints and mystics were not dreamers, they were engineers of frequency. They built cathedrals not with stone, but with alignment. The living equation, as within, so without, is not metaphor. It is the blueprint of existence. Your inner coherence dictates the rhythm of your world. When you think, feel, and speak in harmony, you generate a field that rearranges life itself. This is the true prayer, not repetition but resonance. Each moment you align, you broadcast creation. And in that broadcast, the universe does not respond. It synchronizes. You become the equation fulfilled, the law remembered, the word made living. The inner temple. True prayer begins in silence, not in words. It is the instant when thought bows to presence and emotion becomes a current of light. No temples are needed, only awareness, sculpting its own sacred geometry within. When you enter that stillness, you realize divinity was never distant. It has always been the quiet pulse beneath your breath, waiting to be remembered. Beyond asking to pray is not to ask, it is to become. You stop reaching outward and begin vibrating inward, aligning with the frequency of what already is. Prayer ceases to be a request and becomes recognition, a merging with the source that breathes through you. The seeker fades and the answer unfolds in the same heartbeat. True prayer begins where longing ends. The shift prayer transforms when the voice of the seeker dissolves. The words, once thrown to the sky, now rise from the heart, echoing softly in every cell. You stop pleading for change and start radiating the vibration of fulfillment itself. Each thought becomes precise, each feeling tuned, the whole being turning into a single tone of creation. In the breath of coherence, each breath becomes a sacred equation. Inhale alignment, exhale resistance. The body becomes the temple, the word the fire, the pulse a continuous I am. With every inhalation you draw the universe inward, with every exhalation you release illusion. The air itself seems to whisper that coherence is not something reached. It is remembered. The field awakens. When coherence anchors, the outer world rearranges, faces change, paths open, synchronicities multiply. You realize the universe was never responding, it was reflecting. What was once coincidence now feels like choreography. The field bends toward your vibration, sculpting reality with the precision of your inner geometry. Living as prayer. The awakened do not pray occasionally. They live as prayer. Each gesture, word, and glance becomes sacred architecture. Gratitude hums under their breath like a constant mantra. To live this way is to embody the divine rhythm. Every step a heartbeat of the cosmos, every silence a declaration that creation moves through you, not around you. The return. When prayer becomes embodiment, words fall away. Gratitude remains as the only true language. You cease to call to the divine because you realize you were its echo all along. The soul no longer asks, it emanates. In that stillness, heaven and earth collapse into one breath, the sacred and the human finally indistinguishable. The resonant law. When the word aligns with truth, it stops being language and becomes vibration. Each syllable carries the memory of creation itself. The universe listens not to what is said, but to the frequency from which it is spoken. A coherent voice reshapes the invisible fabric of existence. In that moment, you realize the sacred truth. What you pronounce in alignment cannot return void. It must echo into form. The word made flesh. The ancients called it logos, sound clothed in matter. When thought, emotion, and speech converge, the invisible becomes visible. The body vibrates like an instrument tuned to divine resonance. The eyes shine, the breath harmonizes, and every gesture whispers law. You no longer speak about light, you speak as light. Creation begins to orbit you naturally, drawn by the magnetic pulse of coherence. The mirror of creation. The outer world is not separate from your declaration, it is its reflection. Every mountain, every wave, every encounter is the echo of your internal dialogue. You begin to see that nothing resists alignment. It merely waits to be named. To speak with awareness is to rearrange destiny. The world listens to conviction, not to noise. The mirror only returns the tone of your own vibration. The frequency of gratitude. Gratitude is the final tone of creation, the key that seals manifestation. It does not ask, it affirms. To give thanks before seeing is to command reality from completion. Gratitude vibrates higher than desire. It speaks from the end, not the beginning. Every thank you sent through the heart becomes geometry unfolding. The more you thank, the more the universe synchronizes in rhythm with your certainty. The voice of the divine human. When coherence matures, the human becomes the channel of divine order. The voice no longer seeks to convince. It radiates authority without effort. Each word spoken carries the scent of harmony. The enlightened do not cast spells. They pronounce truth. In their tone lies equilibrium, not emotion. To speak from the soul is to legislate the unseen, shaping form with effortless grace. The silence after sound. When all words have fulfilled their purpose, silence remains, not emptiness, but completion. In that sacred pause, the echo of creation hums like distant music. You realize that even silence vibrates. It contains every potential yet to unfold. Here, power and peace merge. To rest inside that still resonance is to understand that nothing more must be said. Everything already is. The eternal return. Fulfillment is not the end, but the beginning remembered. Once you master the word, you return to simplicity, the breath, the presence, the pulse. You no longer try to manifest, you live in perpetual revelation. The divine and the human become one continuum of light. You are no longer the speaker, nor the prayer, nor the echo. You are the vibration itself, endlessly creating worlds through being. At the end of every sacred word, there is silence, not as absence, but as truth fulfilled. You realize the prayer was never about reaching something higher, but about remembering who you already are. the living vibration, the thought that breathes, the universe speaking itself through you. When the word aligns with coherence, life no longer happens to you, it happens through you. Every breath becomes declaration, every gesture a seed of reality. The miracle is not outside, it unfolds quietly in the exact moment you stop searching and begin resonating. If this message resonated with you, let it continue vibrating. Subscribe, activate the bell, and share this journey with those ready to awaken their own word. Every new soul that listens expands this frequency. Together, we are the echo remembering its source.